is from the Voyage Through the Universe Vintage series. It's called Moons and Rings. There's a lovely picture of some moons, and I think that's possibly Saturn's rings, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's take a look through. The pages are quite shiny. So here are the contents. We've got Earth's Companion, a lunar chronicle, at Mars and Jupiter, satellite sensors, mysterious ring worlds and circles of unrest. So, Earth's Companion. This picture is taken in December 1972, and it says, framed by shadowed hills and the gleaming South Massif in the centre, the Taurus Litro Valley in the foreground passes below the tiny command module of Apollo 17 here. In a view shot from the just separated lunar lander in December 1972, the lunar missions yielded crucial geologic evidence for scientists probing the moon's origin. So obviously this is the moon, Earth's companion. So we've got a kind of introduction. Then we have the moon's many aspects. So let's have a read of this. So apologies about the shiny light on the page. I'll try my best to make sure it doesn't obscure some of the images, but it's a bit difficult because pages are shiny. Okay. Sky watchers have observed since ancient times that although the moon shows a constant face to Earth, it changes shape nightly, now round and full, now the merest sliver, now vanishing altogether for an evening or two. On more dramatic occasions, the full moon is swallowed by an encroaching darkness. At other times, when the moon is absent at night, it crosses the daytime sky to swallow the sun. All of these phenomena derive from certain characteristics of the lunar orbit, as illustrated here. circle once around Earth, as depicted in the overhead view at right. The matched rates keep the same lunar hemisphere turned toward the planet at all times, so that observers see the same pattern of lunar craters. However, because of the shifting angle between the satellite and its primary with respect to the Sun, the amount of the lunar as a standard for the rest of the century. Sorry, that text was very difficult to read. Struggling a bit there. Okay, so I think what we might do, let's start from here. It says, the hunt for beginnings. Astronomers and geologists began to debate the origins of the moon in the late 1800s, even as the wrangle over cratering was heating up. By that time, observers had identified several curious attributes of the moon that seemed to bear directly on its origins. One was the moon's ample size relative to Earth. The satellite was nearly 1/4 the diameter of the planet, although 19th century astronomers could only venture rough estimates of the size of distant moons. By gauging their brightness, there appeared to be no other satellites that loomed so large in comparison to their planets. Somehow, Earth, a fairly small sphere on the planetary scale, had spawned a prodigious offshoot. On the other hand, the moon was not nearly as dense as Earth. Two bodies hovering as close to each other in space as Earth and the moon would presumably have formed under similar conditions, and should thus be similar in makeup, yet calculations of the moon's density, derived by comparing its volume to its mass, as revealed by various orbital characteristics, showed the satellite to be made of lighter stuff. Its density amounted to a mere 60% of Earth's. Some scientists concluded that the moon's interior harboured a smaller quotient of heavy minerals, such as iron and nickel, but they could not explain why. A third factor any lunar origin theory would have to account for was the angular momentum of the Earth-Moon system, a complicated formula based on the mass of the two bodies, the distance between them, and the rate at which Earth rotates on its axis and the moon rotates about Earth. According to a principle laid down by Isaac Newton, the momentum of a given system must remain constant in the absence of an external force. If, for example, the rotation rate of the Earth decreases, then the distance of the moon from Earth must increase at the same time to conserve angular momentum. A simple illustration of this principle is offered by the twirling figure skater, whose spin rate decreases as she extends her arms. As it happens, the tidal bulges produced on Earth by the moon's gravity are in fact slowing the planet's spin rate by a fraction of a second each year, and the moon is compensating by drifting away ever so slowly. The scientists who first pondered the origins of the moon knew by comparing eclipses and other celestial events at long intervals that Earth was spinning more slowly than in the past, and they tried to fit this curious piece of information into the puzzle. Appropriately, the first detailed theory of the moon's evolution was the work of George Howard Darwin, son of the great naturalist who probed the origin of species. Like his father, Charles, George Darwin indulged other interests for a time before settling was slowing, Darwin correctly inferred that the moon must be receding from Earth at the same time to conserve angular momentum. He next surmised that just as it was possible to predict from this tendency what the moon's position and Earth's period would be in the future, it was equally possible to project the changes in lunar orbit and terrestrial rotation back in time. Carrying out their laborious calculations, he reached a point more than 50 million years ago when Earth spun on its axis once every 5 hours, and the moon hovered just 10,000 kilometres above the planet's surface. Extending the process to an even earlier stage, Darwin concluded that the moon must have been an offshoot of a vicious young Earth that was spinning on so rapidly that centrifugal force had caused it to bulge out markedly at the equator. The sun's gravity then tore away a large glob of the protruding material, and the glob ultimately solidified to become the moon. This scenario, variously known as the daughter, escape, or fission hypothesis, sounded eminently sensible to many scientists when Darwin first proposed it in 1878. One of the theory's strong points was its near explication of the moon's low density. The young planet's lighter materials would have migrated to the bulges during its hectic pirouette, so that the glob cast off would be considerably less dense on average than the matter left behind. More than one advocate of this theory went so far as to identify the Pacific Ocean basin as the site of the ancient separation. In this picture, in 1879, this is George Howard Darwin, son of Charles Darwin. Despite its initial appeal, the fission theory eventually lost lustre. One of the first objections raised to Darwin's hypothesis involved a principle articulated in 1848 by French mathematician Edouard Albert Roche, who had calculated that within a given distance of a planet, its gravitational influence would keep dispersed material from clumping together to form a moon. Plainly, any viscous glob that spun off the Earth would be inside this so-called Roche limit. Prevented from accreting, the jettisoned material would orbit the planet as a ring of particles. Darwin conceded the point, but insisted that even such a ring would produce sufficient tidal bulging on Earth to help slow down the planet. This in turn would induce the orbiting material to drift away until it was outside the Roche limit and could consolidate into a moon. Other arguments against fission proved more difficult to refute. In order for the planet to have bulged out through centrifugal force, later calculations revealed its angular momentum would have to be 4 times greater than that of the Earth-Moon system today, a baffling discrepancy in light of Newton's conservation principle. And even at that improbably high level of momentum, the young Earth would have had to be composed entirely of molten material, no more viscous than water, to be subject to fission, a possibility that struck revised estimates for the time. The time scale of the fission process traced the moon's separation from the planet back 2 million years at most, by which time Earth would presumably have firmed up, rendering the scenario all the more improbable. The evident shortcomings of the fission hypothesis fueled scientific interests in competing lunar origin theories, including one that had been advanced in general terms a few years before George Darwin worked out his detailed model. This alternate hypothesis was known as the co-accretion or sister theory, since it portrayed the moon more as Earth's younger sibling than its offspring. The theory, which held that the moon condensed outside the Roche limit from a disk of gas and dust encircling the proto-Earth, was a logical extension of the argument that the planets of the solar system had formed from a gaseous nebula swirling about the Sun. Elaborations of that nebula hypothesis described how, over time, innumerable collisions, first between tiny particles of dust and gas, and later between pebble to boulder-sized bodies, created chunks of matter called planetesimals, which eventually accreted to form the planets. In much the same way, suggested Edward Roche, in 1873, the moon might have accumulated from a contingent of planetesimals bound by Earth's gravity. Roche advanced this theory only tentatively, and with good reason, for it did little to account for the moon's peculiar features. For one thing, it failed to explain why Earth, alone among the small rocky inner planets, should thus have acquired a large satellite. Only the outer gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus, presented a strong case for this type of moon formation. A third origin theory dispensed with the troublesome proposition that the moon had developed near Earth, called the capture hypothesis. It was proposed in 1909 by American astronomer Thomas Jefferson Jackson C. C contended that the moon had taken shape not in the inner solar system, but farther out, beyond the orbit of Uranus. There, billions of kilometres from the Sun, whose heat stripped the developing inner planets of their lighter elements, conditions favoured the formation of a body significantly less dense than Earth. When this new object first accreted, it orbited the Sun, but as it ploughed through gas, dust and other cosmic debris in its path, it lost energy and its orbit shrank. Eventually, it passed close enough to Earth to fall under the gravitational sway of the planet. That planets could in fact capture satellites had been suggested by recent discoveries of tiny satellites circling Jupiter in highly elliptical orbits. The likely path for a small object that strayed obliquely into the gravitational clutches of a giant planet. But the moon presented a different picture. It was quite large relative to Earth, and its orbit was nearly circular, raising serious problems for sea explaining the Moon's present orbital characteristics. Advocates of the competing models made similar attempts to adapt their theories to the facts, and their efforts succeeded to the extent that none of the three main alternatives could be dismissed out of hand. By 1961, when President John F. Kennedy proclaimed America's intention to send astronauts to the Moon, the mystery of that body's origins appeared as tangled as ever. Scientists could only hope that the planned Apollo moonwalks, along with ongoing American and Soviet efforts to probe the satellite with unpiloted spacecraft, would provide the clues needed to solve the stubborn problem. The urge to explain the Moon's birth was just one of the scientific motives behind the Apollo flights. Evidence was accumulating that after a volatile early phase marked by frequent impacts, the surface of the Moon had remained essentially unchanged, while Earth underwent billions of years of geologic evolution. If this view was accurate, then the Apollo program would represent more than a bold voyage across space. It would constitute a journey back in time to a revealing relic of the formative era of the solar system. Okay, let's go back a page. The distorting effects of gravity. The ocean tides that swell and recede daily on Earth are just one manifestation of the gravitational relationship between orbiting bodies. A planet and its satellites, or the Sun and its planets, exert differential gravitational forces on each other. That is, because gravity decreases with distance, the forces are stronger on the facing hemispheres, weaker on the body's far sides, distorting the two bodies' shapes and modifying their orbital characteristics. Because fluids are more malleable than solids, ocean tides are the most visible effect of tidal tugging. But the solid parts of orbiting bodies also respond, bulging into somewhat scientist who came late to the field of astronomy and proceeded to challenge the assumptions of some of its leading lights. In 1934, at the age of 41, Urey had shared the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his discovery, with two colleagues, of heavy hydrogen or deuterium. During World War II, he headed the Columbia University team that helped to develop the atomic bomb under the auspices of the secret Manhattan Project. Dismayed by the devastating results of that effort, Urey became a vocal pacifist after the war and abandoned nuclear research for other pursuits, including an ambitious inquiry into the origin of the solar system. Early on in that quest, Urey came to regard the moon as a case study of conditions in the early solar system, that the moon had undergone little evolution since its formation appeared evident in the crisp outlines and coherent profiles of many of its craters and ridges. The young Earth must have presented a similar picture, Urey reasoned, but it had been altered dramatically not only by wind and rain, but by internal processes such as volcanic eruptions and earthquakes caused by heat generated in the planet's core. The moon, by contrast, appeared to have maintained its original identity as a geologically inert body with too little internal heat to alter the surface. These observations dovetailed with Urey's central thesis that the planets and their satellites had accreted from a relatively cold nebula cloud of gas and dust rather than a hot one, as some cosmologists argued. Evidence of this lay in the moon's perceptible tidal bulge. If the moon had once been hotter and more plastic, Urey contended, its interior would not have been stiff enough to support the bulge, which would have flattened out over time as the moon drifted further from Earth, and its tidal pull. This cold moon theory left Urey at some pains to explain the dark surface of the lunar Maria, which most scientists attributed to pulsatic lava flows. Perhaps the molten material was simply the result of intense surface heating, caused by the tremendous impacts that gouged out the basins, he suggested, or perhaps the Maria were not lava beds at all, but just what their name implied, ancient seabeds, encrusted with the residue of primitive organisms. If that was the case, Urey wrote, the Apollo program should bring back fascinating samples which will teach us much in regard to the early history of the solar system, and in particular with regard to the origin of life. In this, as in his suggestion that the moon's interior might never have been molten, Urey turned out to be mistaken, but he was correct in viewing the moon as a cosmic relic. That fact was confirmed in the early 1960s by a team of geologists led by Eugene Shoemaker, an Arizona geologist with the US Geological Survey. Relying on precise lunar images and direct telescopic observation, Shoemaker and his colleagues applied the technique of stratigraphy, the analysis of Earth's geologic strata, I suppose it's stratigraphy maybe, to sort out the layers of material on the moon's surface and construct a timescale for the events that deposited them. A crater that overlay and partly obliterated another crater, for example, had obviously been carved at a later stages, ranked from oldest to youngest and named for prominent landmarks, exemplifying the various stages: pre-Nectarian, Nectarian, Imbrian, Eratosthenian and Copernican. The oldest areas were well worn, having been eroded over the eons by sporadic major bombardments and the constant flow of micrometeorites, specks of cosmic debris hurtling through space. The youngest impressions were fresh and crisp, such as the sharply defined crater Copernicus in the Ocean of Storms. Most regions of the moon were layer cakes of succeeding stages. For example, the Mare Imbrium, or Sea of Showers, in the moon's northwest quadrant, contained many small and relatively recent craters superimposed on a dark surface of intermediate age, which in turn covered a broad basin gouged out of the moon's crust by an ancient, massive impact. As precise as this scheme was, it could offer only relative dates for lunar events. However, Shoemaker suggested a technique for determining the absolute age of the various features. Geologists could estimate cratering rates on Earth, he noted, by ranking craters according to size and dating them to determine how many meteorite falls of that magnitude had occurred within a given area over time. An event such as the one that carved the big meteor crater in Arizona, for instance, had taken place on the North American continent roughly once every 10,000 years. Assuming that the moon was subject to the same rate of bombardment, Shoemaker calculated from the profusion of such scars standing out crisply on the lunar surface that the Copernican epoch, the most recent cratering period, had in fact lasted around 2 billion years. The stage before that, the Eratosthenian, extended back nearly to the period of Earth's formation, 4.6 billion years ago. From this, Shoemaker deduced two things: that the moon was indeed as old as Earth, and that a great deal of lunar cratering, including the massive impacts that carved the Maria, had occurred in a short span after the satellite formation. In the earliest stages, the moon and the Earth were encountering in space debris left over after the consolidation of the planets. Shoemaker explained it would take about 100 million years for the Earth and the moon to sweep up the planetesimals in their paths around the Sun. Following this space